Okay, now this next example should not be any trouble for you guys because you've seen it. This is using the compound interest formula. Here's your formula right there. Okay, this is one you're going to want to know. You'll have to know it for a test. Let me explain the variables really quick. A is going to be your ending balance. And compound interest is interest that's compounded and added to your initial balance and to the interest. And we did talk about that previously in class. If you want a further description, you can look in your textbook to go a little more in depth, because it is good to know. Okay, so here's the problem. You deposit $4,000 in an account that pays 2.92% annual interest. Find the balance after 1 year if the interest is compounded with the given frequency. So A is quarterly. Okay, quarterly, if you think of the word quarter, quarter is four. A quarter is in 4 pieces, or I think of 4 quarters to $1, however you look at that. But this means that 4 times a year, we're going to have interest added onto our balance and to our interest. Okay, so A is going to represent our ending balance with that interest. P represents my starting deposit, or my principal. R is going to represent your percent that is paid for the interest. Again, you're using a percentage in an equation, so it has to be a decimal. And N represents the number of times it's compounded per year. And again, T is time in years. Okay? So let's plug this information into the problem. We start with $4,000, so that's going to be our principal. Our rate is 2.92%. As a decimal, we got to change that. There's a decimal in my percent, so I start at the decimal, and I go 1, 2. So the decimal of that would be 0.0292. N is the number of times compounded per year. This is quarterly. That's going to be 4 times a year. And I'm going to erase this, give me a little bit more room. Again, this is 4 times a year. And it tells me, find the balance after 1 year. So my T is going to be 1. You guys have done this before. Go ahead and plug that into your calculator and see what you get. Don't forget order of operations. Okay, so if you did those order of operations correctly, you should end up with a balance of $4,118.09. Don't forget, start inside the parentheses. Divide first, then add, then raise to the exponent, then multiply. Now try the next one for compounded daily. Alright, so for that last one there, we want to plug in 365 for compounded daily, because there are 365 days in 1 year. Again, it's all compared to a year. So we plug in 365, we would divide first, then add, raise to that exponent, multiply. You should have gotten $4,118.52.